How are you guys doing? Today is Saturday, April 16th, 2022. I'm James Sims, and for this episode of The Elite, I'm going to review yesterday's Elite matchups and performances from Friday, April 15th, and of course, I'm going to preview everything that's going on today as we navigate through the world of sports one day at a time. Taking a look at where we are in the middle of April, we are through the play-in round of the NBA playoffs, as there are now 16 teams to make up the first round of the NBA playoffs. The first round will begin today because the play-in round ended yesterday, as both eight seed teams have been selected, and the number of teams in the NBA competing for the title has dropped from 18 to 16. Taking a look at what's going on in the MLB, the MLB season literally just got started earlier this month, as the season is going to last way into October, as teams are starting to seed themselves out within their divisions. Not to mention that within soccer, we are entering yet another weekend, as teams are getting ever closer to that, or getting close to the ends of their seasons. Not to mention there are still some domestic cups that are being played. With that said, I'm going to start with what happened yesterday in the 8-seed games in the play-in round. Starting on the Eastern Conference side, after the Brooklyn Nets had already clinched the 7th seed. For the 8th seed, the Cleveland Cavaliers would host the Atlanta Hawks. The Cavaliers came in with the 8th seed. The Hawks came in with the 9th seed. Cavs made it to this game after losing to the Nets, and the Hawks would have to beat the 10-seed Charlotte Hornets in order to make it here. After the Cavs finished with one more win in the regular season, it will be the Hawks that beat the Cavaliers 107-101. After they were trailing by 10 at halftime, they would go on to outscore the Cavs by 10 in the third quarter to tie the game up. They would outscore the Cavs by 6 in the fourth quarter, as that fourth quarter would be the difference. On the losing end of this matchup, in their final game of the 2021-22 season, the regular season 8-seed Cleveland Cavaliers were led in scoring by their starting power forward out of Arizona, Lauri Markkanen. He finished with 26 points, 8 rebounds, and 2 steals in 37 minutes. He shot 10 for 17 from the field and 6 for 12 from 3. Their all-star starting point guard, Darius Garland, out of Vanderbilt, would finish his very first all-star campaign with 21 points, 3 rebounds, 9 assists, 3 steals, and 5 turnovers in 43 minutes. He shot 9 for 27 from the field, 1 for 7 from 3, and he made both of his free throws. The Cavaliers' all-star starting center, Jared Allen, out of Texas, would finish his very first all-star season with an 11-point, 3 rebound, and 2 assist outing in 36 minutes. He would shoot a perfect 4 for 4 from the field and 3 for 4 from the foul line. On the winning end of this matchup, the Atlanta Hawks were led in scoring by their elite starting point guard out of Oklahoma, Trae Young. He finished with 38 points, 3 rebounds, and 9 assists in 40 minutes, as he scored 32 of his 38 points in the second half. He would go on to shoot 13 for 25 from the field, 4 for 11 from 3, and he shot 8 for 9 from the free throw line. With this win, the Atlanta Hawks are going to be the 8th seed in the Eastern Conference playoff picture. They're going to be facing off against the Miami Heat, and looking at when their first matchup against Miami will be, it is set for Sunday. It's set for tomorrow at 1 o'clock. It's actually the first game tomorrow. And with this loss, the Cleveland Cavaliers will finish their 2021-22 season after having finished with the 8th best record in the East, after losing 2 play-in games against the Brooklyn Nets, the 7th seed, and the Atlanta Hawks, the 8th seed. So that is how the Cavalier season ends. Taking a look at the 8th seed game in the Western Conference, the Los Angeles Clippers would host the New Orleans Pelicans. After the Clippers finished with 6 more wins than the Pelicans to finish with the 8th seed, and can give the Pelicans the 9th seed, the Clippers ended up losing their 7th seed matchup against the Minnesota Timberwolves. So the Timberwolves took the 7th seed, and they're going to face off against the 2-seed Grizzlies. And looking at how their opponent was able to make it here, the Hornets were able to beat the 10-seed San Antonio Spurs on their own floor. So, of course, within this matchup to determine who would face off against the Phoenix Suns in round 1, the 9-seed New Orleans Pelicans would beat the 8-seed Los Angeles Clippers 105-101 in the Crypto.com arena. The Pelicans would win this game after outscoring the Clippers by 10 in the first half. They would also go on to outscore the Clippers by 14 in the fourth quarter after they came into the fourth quarter trailing by 10. On the losing end of this matchup, the hometown LA Clippers were led in scoring in their final game of the season by their starting small forward Marcus Morris Sr. and their starting point guard Reggie Jackson. Morris finished with 27 points, 9 rebounds, and 5 assists in 43 minutes. He shot 9 for 20 from the field, 4 for 11 from 3, and he shot 5 for 7 from the free throw line. The Clippers starting point guard, Reggie Jackson, finished with 27 points, 7 rebounds, 8 assists, and 2 steals in 46 minutes. He shot 9 for 22 from the field and 7 for 9 from the free throw line. On the winning end of this matchup, the New Orleans Pelicans were led in scoring by their elite starting small forward out of Duke, Brandon Ingram. He finished with 30 points, 6 rebounds, and 6 assists in 43 minutes. Their former All-Star shot 14 for 21 from the field and 2 for 4 from the free throw line. Their power forward off the bench and a former player within the Crypto.com arena, formerly known as the Staples Center, Larry Nance Jr. Larry Nance Jr. finished with 14 points, 16 rebounds, and 5 fouls in 24 minutes. He shot 7 for 8 from the field. With this win, the Pelicans are going to assume the 8th seed in the Western Conference playoff picture, as their first playoff matchup is going to be against the Phoenix Suns. They are set to play against the Suns. That's the last game tomorrow on TNT. But now, with this loss, the Los Angeles Clippers, the regular season 8 seed, will finish their 2021-22 season with a 42-40 regular season record, and then 2 play-in losses to the 7 seed going into this playoff picture, the Minnesota Timberwolves, and then they ended up losing to the 8 seed, the New Orleans Pelicans. They have the same path as the Cleveland Cavaliers, essentially, on the Western Conference. But now the 8 teams have been selected for the first round of the Eastern and Western Conference playoff picture. I will do a preview once we get there. But with that said, taking a look at what is going on in the NBA today. Today is the very first day of the first round of the 2022 NBA playoffs. The very first game on ESPN will be the Western Conference 4-5 matchup, as the 4 seed Dallas Mavericks are going to host the 5 seed Utah Jazz. I do not think Luka Doncic is going to be playing this game, but of course this is going to be a best of 7 series, as the Jazz are going to be led out by their elite starting shooting guard Donovan Mitchell, and of course their elite starting center out of France, Rudy Gobert. At 3:30 on ESPN and FedEx Forum, it will be the Western Conference's 2-7 matchup, as the Memphis Grizzlies are going to host the Minnesota Timberwolves. Grizzlies here after they finished with the second best record in the NBA. The Timberwolves had to end up beating the 8 seed Clippers to clinch this 8th seed in the to clinch this 7th seed in the Western Conference in this best of 7 series. At 6 o'clock on ESPN, it will be Game 1 of the Eastern Conference's 4-5 matchup, as the 4 seed Philadelphia 76ers host the 5 seed Toronto Raptors. The Sixers are, of course, being led out by the NBA's leading scorer, Joel Embiid. And, of course, the Raptors are a very solid unit. They are the Eastern Conference's second most recent champion of the NBA Finals. And then at 8:30 on ABC, it will be Game 1 of the Western Conference's 3-6 matchup, as the Golden State Warriors are going to host the 6 seed Denver Nuggets. Coming into this matchup, the Warriors finished the regular season with 5 more wins. And, of course, a lot of people are going to be expecting this, as Nikola Jokic is the reigning NBA MVP and is pretty expected to win the MVP this season. But that is what the NBA is looking like, as we have yet to start this first round. This round will probably last a couple of weeks, and once we get through this round, there should be 8 teams left in the NBA. But that's what the NBA is looking like as of today, going into Saturday. Taking a look at what's happening in the MLB, starting off in New York, the Mets would host the Arizona Diamondbacks. The Mets would end up beating the Diamondbacks 10-3 after pretty much not giving the Diamondbacks a chance at all to really get a run in, or to really kind of get a lead in. On the losing end of this matchup, the Arizona Diamondbacks were led out by their starting pitcher, Zach Davies. Davies allowed 5 runs off of 7 hits in 4.1 innings. He would walk a batter as he struck out 2 before getting pulled out in the 5th inning. With this loss, Zach Davies is 0-1. In the Arizona Diamondbacks lineup, nobody on the team would finish with more than one hit. Their center fielder, Dalton Varsho, went 1-for-4 with an RBI and a run. He would go on to hit his very first home run of the season. On the winning end of this matchup, the hometown New York Mets were led out by their starting pitcher, Chris Bassett, the former Oakland A. He would allow one earned run off of 2 hits in 6 innings pitched. He would strike out 6 and only walk 2 batters in the 6 innings that he pitched, and with this win, he's 2-0. In the Mets batting lineup, their left fielder, Jeff McNeil, went 2-for-5 with a run. Their right fielder, Starling Marte, went 3-for-5 with 3 RBIs and 3 runs. He hit his first home run of the season. Their elite shortstop, Francisco Lindor, went 2-for-3 with 3 RBIs and 3 runs. He would go on to hit his second and third home runs of the season. And then their center fielder for the day, Travis Jankowski, would end up going 3-for-4 with a run. With this win, the New York Mets are 6-2. That is currently the best record in the National League East. They are currently holding the best record in the National League. They're the only team in the MLB as well with 6 wins so far, as they are also holding a 3-game win streak. With this loss, the Arizona Diamondbacks are 2-5. They are currently holding the worst record in the National League West. They are sitting 3 whole games behind the Colorado Rockies, the Los Angeles Dodgers, and the San Francisco Giants, sitting atop the division. Taking a look at what happened in Fenway, the Boston Red Sox hosted the Minnesota Twins. The Twins would beat the Red Sox 8-4 after scoring their first 4 runs in the first couple of innings of the game, not really giving the Red Sox a chance to take the lead. On the losing end of this matchup, the hometown Red Sox were led out by their starting pitcher, Nick Pivetta. He allowed 4 earned runs off of 5 hits in 2 full innings pitched. He would strike out 2 batters and walk 2, and with his loss, he's 0-2. In the Red Sox batting lineup, their elite third baseman, Rafael Devers, would end up going 2-for-4 with 2 RBIs and a run, as he hit his second home run of the season. And then their right fielder, Jackie Bradley Jr., would go 2-for-3 with a run. On the winning end of this matchup, the Minnesota Twins were led out by their starting pitcher, Joe Ryan. Joe Ryan would allow 1 earned run off of 5 hits in the 6 innings that he pitched. He would strike out 7 on the day, and with this win, he's now 1-1. In the Twins batting lineup, their third baseman, Luis Arias, would go 2-for-4 with 2 RBIs. He was the only player on the team with more than 1 hit. With this win, the Minnesota Twins are 3-4. That is the 4th best record in the American League Central. They are sitting 2 full games behind the division-leading Chicago White Sox. With this loss, the Boston Red Sox are also 3-4. That is the 4th best record in the American League East. They are sitting a game and a half behind the division-leading Toronto Blue Jays at the moment. Taking a look at what happened in Pittsburgh, the Pirates would host the Washington Nationals. The Nationals would end up beating the Pirates 7-2. They would score 3 of their first 7 runs in the first 2 innings before the Pirates scored both of their runs, so the Pirates never got a lead in this game. On the losing end of this matchup, the hometown Pirates were led out by their starting pitcher, Mitch Keller. Mitch Keller would go on to allow 4 earned runs and 7 hits in 3.2 innings. He would strike out 4 batters and walk 3 before getting pulled in the 4th inning, and he would go on to pick up the loss. With this loss, Keller is 0-2. In the Pirates batting lineup, nobody on the team would finish with more than 1 hit, and that would be attributed to great pitching from the Nationals. Both of the Pirates' RBIs went to their shortstop, Hoyt Park, with 2 RBIs. And of course, on the national side of this, the win was given to their starting pitcher, Eric Fetty. Fetty would allow 2 earned runs off of 4 hits and 5 innings pitched, and he would strike out 6 and walk 2. With this win, Eric Fetty is now 1-0. In the Nationals batting lineup, their second baseman, Cesar Hernandez, went 2-for-5 with 2 runs. Their elite right fielder, Juan Soto, went 2-for-3 with 2 runs. Their elite designated hitter, Nelson Cruz, went 2-for-4 with 3 RBIs. And their first baseman, Josh Bell, went 2-for-4 with 3 RBIs as well. With this win, the Washington Nationals are 4-5. That they are tied with the defending champs, Atlanta Braves, for the 2nd best record in the National League East. They are currently sitting 2.5 games behind the division-leading New York Mets. With this loss, the Pittsburgh Pirates are 3-4. That is the 4th best record in the National League Central. They are sitting a game and a half behind the division-leading St. Louis Cardinals at the moment. Jumping out to Miami, the Miami Marlins hosted the Philadelphia Phillies. The Marlins would beat the Phillies 7-1 after scoring the first 7 runs of the game, 4 of them in the first 2 innings. On the losing end of this matchup, the Philadelphia Phillies were led out by their starting pitcher, Zach Eflin. Eflin would allow 4 earned runs off of 6 hits in 4 innings pitched. He would strike out 4 batters and walk 1. With this loss, he's 0-1 on the season. In the Phillies batting lineup, the only player with more than 1 hit was their first baseman, Rhys Hoskins. He would go 2 for 3 on the day. Their elite designated hitter, Nick Castellanos, would go 1 for 3 with an RBI and a run, as he hit his second home run of the year. On the winning end of this matchup, Castellanos' home run was the only run for the Phillies. On the winning end of this matchup, the hometown Miami Marlins were led out by their starting pitcher, Pablo Lopez. Lopez allowed no earned runs off of 4 hits in 5.1 innings pitched. He would strike out 2 batters and walk 2 as well, as with his win, he's now 1-0. In the Marlins batting lineup, their designated hitter, Garrett Cooper, would go 2 for 3 with a run. Their center fielder, Jesus Sanchez, went 2 for 5 with 2 RBIs and 2 runs. With this win, the Miami Marlins are 3-4. That is the 4th best record in the National League East. They've now won their last 2 games. They are sitting 2.5 games behind the division-leading New York Mets. With this loss, the Philadelphia Phillies are 3-5. That is the worst record in the National League East. They are currently holding a 4-game losing streak. They are tied with the Cincinnati Reds for the longest active losing streak in the MLB. In the National League. Only the Kansas City Royals have a longer losing streak than the Phillies. But that's where the Phillies are sitting as of right now. But like I said, they sit 3 full games behind the division-leading New York Mets. Taking a look at what happened in Baltimore, the Orioles would host the Yankees. The Orioles would beat the Yankees 2-1. It was tied at 1 going into extra innings. It would be a walk-off walk by Ramon Urias that would win the game for the Orioles. And with this win, they picked up their 2nd win of the season. On the losing end of this matchup, the Yankees were led out by their starting pitcher, Jordan Montgomery. Montgomery allowed no earned runs and only 3 hits in 5 innings pitched. He would strike out 2 and walk 2 in that span. The loss would end up going to their setup relief pitcher, Clark Schmidt. Schmidt allowed 1 run in 1.1 innings pitched, as he would pitch the entire 9th and get subbed out of the 10th, as he would walk 3 batters. With this loss, he's 0-2, and then Chapman would end up giving up the game-winning walk. On the losing end in the batting lineup, their elite right fielder, Giancarlo Stanton, was the only player with more than 1 hit. He went 3 for 5 with an RBI, the team's lone RBI. On the winning end of this matchup, the hometown Orioles were led out by their starting pitcher, Jordan Lyles. Lyles would allow 1 earned run off of 6 hits in 5.1 innings pitched. He would strike out 4 and walk 2 before getting pulled in the 6th inning. The win for the Orioles went to Joey Krehbiel, their closer. He would go on to allow no earned runs off of 1 hit in the 11th inning, as he would strike out a batter. With this win, he's now 1-0. In the Orioles batting lineup, their left fielder, Austin Hayes, would end up going 2 for 4 with 2 runs. Their catcher, Robinson Chirinos, would end up going 2 for 3. With this win, the Baltimore Orioles are 2-5. That is the worst record in the American League East. They are tied with the Kansas City Royals and the Texas Rangers for the worst record in the American League, as only the Reds have a worse record than the Orioles right now. They are currently sitting 2.5 games behind the division-leading Toronto Blue Jays within their division. With this loss, the New York Yankees are 4-4. They are tied with the Tampa Bay Rays for the 2nd-best record in the American League East. They are sitting a full game behind the division-leading Toronto Blue Jays. Taking a look now at what happened in Toronto, speaking of the Blue Jays would host the Athletics. The Blue Jays would beat the A's 4-1, as they never gave the A's a chance to take the lead in this game. The A's never took the lead in this game. And on the losing end of this matchup, the A's were led out by their starting pitcher, Dalton Jeffries. He allowed 2 earned runs off of 7 hits in 4.1 innings. He would strike out 2 batters and walk 1 before getting pulled in the 5th inning. And with this loss, he's now 1-1. In the Athletics batting lineup, the only player that had more than 1 hit was their third baseman, Kevin Smith. He went 2 for 3 on the day. On the winning end of this matchup, the hometown Toronto Blue Jays were led out by their starting pitcher, Ross Stripling. Stripling allowed no earned runs and only 2 hits in the 4 innings that he pitched. He would strike out 3, and the win for Toronto would go to their third relief pitcher, Adam Simber. He allowed no earned runs in 1.2 innings pitched. He would go on to finish the 6th inning and pitch the entire 7th, as he would allow a hit in that span and strike out 3. With this win, Simber is 3-0. The save would end up going to the Blue Jays closer, Jordan Romano. He allowed no earned runs in the 9th inning as he struck out 2. This would be his 5th save of the year. In the Blue Jays batting lineup, their elite designated hitter, Vladimir Guerrero Jr., went 2 for 3 with an RBI and a run. He hit his 5th home run of the season. Their left fielder, Lourdes Gurriel Jr., went 2 for 3 with an RBI and a run. Their right fielder, Raimel Tapia, would end up going 2 for 2 with a run. And then their catcher in this matchup, Zach Collins, would go 2 for 4 with an RBI. With this win, the Toronto Blue Jays are 5-3. That is the best record in the American League East. They are sitting a game ahead of the two-way tie between the New York Yankees and the Tampa Bay Rays for the second best record overall in that division. And with this loss, the Oakland Athletics are now 4-4. They are tied with the Los Angeles Angels and the Seattle Mariners for the second best record in the American League West. They are sitting half a game behind the division-leading Houston Astros at the moment. Taking a look at what happened in Cleveland, the Cleveland Guardians would host the reigning regular season champs San Francisco Giants. The Giants would end up beating the Guardians 4-1, as they would go on to see their 2 runs scored before the Guardians. They scored 2 runs before the Guardians scored there, never giving the Guardians a chance to really take the lead. On the losing end of this matchup, the hometown Guardians were led by their starting pitcher, Zach Plesac. Plesac would allow 2 earned runs off of 7 hits in the 5.1 innings he pitched. He would strike out 4 batters and walk 1, and with this loss, he's now 0-1. In the Guardians batting lineup, nobody on the team would finish with more than 1 hit, and that would be attributed to great pitching from San Francisco. The Giants were led out by their starting pitcher, Carlos Rodon. Rodon allowed 1 earned run off of 2 hits in 7 innings pitched. He would strike out 9 batters and walk 2. With this win, Carlos Rodon is 1-0 on the season. The save for the Giants would go to their closer, Camilo Doval. Doval allowed no earned runs in the 9th inning as he struck out a batter. This would be his 2nd save of the year. In the Giants batting lineup, their left fielder, Jock Peterson, the reigning World Series champ, would go 2 for 3 with an RBI and a run as he hit his 2nd home run of the season. Their catcher, Joey Bart, would end up going 2 for 4 with 2 RBIs and a run as he would hit his 2nd home run of the year. With this win, the San Francisco Giants are 5-2. They are tied with the Colorado Rockies and the Los Angeles Dodgers for the best record in the National League West. They are all sitting 1 game ahead of the San Diego Padres, who hold the 3rd best record in the division. With this loss, the Cleveland Guardians are now 4-3. That is the 2nd best record in the American League Central. They are sitting a full game behind the division-leading Chicago White Sox at the moment. Speaking of the White Sox hosted the defending American League East champs, Tampa Bay Rays. The White Sox would beat the Rays 3-2 as they scored all 3 of their runs before the Rays would score both of theirs, as the Rays would never get a chance to hold a lead. On the losing end of this matchup, the Rays were led out by their starting pitcher, Drew Rasmussen. Rasmussen allowed 3 earned runs off of 5 hits and 5 innings pitched. He would strike out 2. With this loss, he's 0-1. In the Rays batting lineup, their elite shortstop, Wander Franco, went 2 for 4, and then their designated hitter, Manuel Margot, would go 2 for 4 as well. On the winning end of this matchup, the hometown Chicago White Sox were led out by their starting pitcher, Dylan Cease. Dylan Cease would allow 1 earned run off of 3 hits in a 5.2 innings pitched. He would strike out 8 and he would walk 2 before getting pulled in the 6th inning. The save would go to the White Sox elite closer, Liam Hendriks. He allowed no earned runs in the 9th inning as he struck out a batter, the 13th of the day for the team. This would be his 3rd save of the year for the White Sox. In the White Sox batting lineup, the only player with more than 1 hit was their 3rd baseman, Jake Berger. He went 2 for 3 with 2 RBIs and a run as he hit his very first home run of the season. With this win, the Chicago White Sox are 5-2. That is the best record in the American League Central. That's the best record in the American League record-wise at the moment. As right now, they sit a game ahead of the 2nd place Cleveland Guardians in their division. With this loss, the Tampa Bay Rays are 4-4. With a 3-game losing streak, which is the 2nd longest in the American League, They are now currently trailing the Toronto Blue Jays by 1 game within that division alongside the Yankees. Taking a look at what happened in Arlington, Texas, the Texas Rangers would host the Los Angeles Angels. The Angels would end up beating the Rangers from within their own division 9-6 after both teams had a 5-run inning. The Texas Rangers scored 5 in the 4th inning. That would see them go up 6-2. And then the Angels would score 5 in the 5th to see them go right back up 7-6. On the losing end of this matchup, the hometown Texas Rangers were led out by their starting pitcher in this matchup. Their starting pitcher yesterday was Matt Bush. He only pitched 1 full inning as he allowed 1 earned run and struck out 3. The loss for the Rangers would go to their second relief pitcher, Colby Allard. Allard would allow 5 earned runs off of 5 hits in 1.1 innings pitched as he would pitch the entire 3rd and get pulled in the 4th. He would only strike out 1 batter on the day and allow 2 home runs, and with this loss, he's 0-1. In the Rangers batting lineup, their designated hitter, Nick Solak, went 2 for 3 with a run. He was the only player on the team with more than 1 hit. On the winning end of this matchup, the LA Angels were led out by their starting pitcher, Reed Detmers. Reed Detmers would allow 5 earned runs off of 6 hits in 3.1 innings pitched. He would strike out 5 and walk a batter. The win would go to the Angels' first relief pitcher, Austin Warren. Warren would allow 1 earned run in 1.1 innings pitched as he would strike out 1. He would finish the 4th inning and get pulled in the 5th. With this win, he's now 1-0. The save for the Angels would end up going to their closer, Raisel Iglesias. Iglesias would allow no earned runs off of 1 hit in the 9th inning, and with this save, he would pick up 2 strikeouts. This would be Iglesias' second save of the 2022 season. In the Angels batting lineup, their elite designated hitter and reigning American League MVP, Shohei Ohtani, would go 2 for 5 with 3 RBIs and 2 runs. Shohei would hit his first and second home runs of the season. Their goated center fielder, Mike Trout, went 2 for 4 with 2 runs. Their first baseman and former All-Star Jared Walsh went 2 for 5 with 3 RBIs and 2 runs. Jared Walsh would hit his second home run of the year. And with this win, the Los Angeles Angels are now 4-4. That is the second best record in the American League West, as they are tied with the Athletics and the Seattle Mariners. At the moment, the Angels are sitting half a game behind the division-leading Houston Astros. With this loss, the Texas Rangers are 2-5. That is the worst record in the American League West. They are tied with the Baltimore Orioles and the Kansas City Royals for the worst record in the entire American League. Only the Cincinnati Reds have a worse record than the Rangers in the major leagues right now. Overall, the Rangers are sitting 2 full games in their division behind the division-leading and reigning American League West champs, Houston Astros. Taking a look at what happened in Kansas City, the Royals would host the Detroit Tigers. The Tigers beat the Royals 2-1. The Royals held a 1-0 lead for about 3 innings until Spencer Torkelson hit a 2-run home run to give the Tigers the lead. On the losing end of this matchup, the hometown Kansas City Royals were led out by their starting pitcher, Brad Keller. He allowed 2 earned runs off of 3 hits in the 7 innings that he pitched as he walked 2 batters and struck out 5. With this loss, Brad Keller is 0-1. In the Royals batting lineup, their elite catcher, Salvador Perez, went 2 for 4 with a run, and their second baseman, Nicky Lopez, went 2 for 3. On the winning end of this matchup, the Detroit Tigers were led out by their starting pitcher, Tarek Skubal. He allowed 1 run off of 4 hits in 5.2 innings. He would strike out 7 before getting pulled in the 6th inning. The win was given to their first relief pitcher, Jacob Barnes. Barnes allowed no earned runs in 1.1 inning. He would strike out a batter. He would finish the 6th inning and pitch the entire 7th. With this win, he's now 1-0 on the year. The save was given to their closer and former American League Rookie of the Year, Michael Fulmer. He allowed no earned runs in the 9th inning as he struck out a batter. This would be his very first save of the year. In the Tigers batting lineup, their first baseman, Spencer Torkelson was the only player on the team with more than 1 hit. He went 2 for 3 with 2 RBIs and a run as he hit his second home run of the year. With this win, the Detroit Tigers are now 2-1. They are now 4-4. That is the third best record in the American League Central. The Tigers have won their last 2 games, and at the moment they sit a game and a half behind the division-leading Chicago White Sox. With this loss, the Kansas City Royals are 2-5. That is the worst record in the American League Central, as they are holding a 5-game losing streak after they won their first 2 games of the season. Their 5-game losing streak is the longest active losing streak in the MLB. At the moment, they sit 3 full games behind the division-leading Chicago White Sox. Taking a look at what happened in Milwaukee, the Brewers would host the St. Louis Cardinals, and the Cardinals would beat the Brewers 10-1 after scoring 6 runs in the first 2 innings of the game. On the losing end of this matchup, the hometown Milwaukee Brewers were led out by their starting pitcher, Freddie Peralta. Peralta would allow 6 earned runs off of 7 hits in 3 innings pitched. He would strike out 4, and then he would walk 2 batters as well, and with his loss, he's 0-1. In the Brewers batting lineup, their right fielder, Hunter Renfroe, would end up going 2 for 4. He was the only player on the team with more than 1 hit. On the winning end of this matchup, the St. Louis Cardinals were led out by their starting pitcher, Miles Mikolas. Mikolas would allow only 1 earned run off of 3 hits and 6.2 innings pitched. He would strike out 7 batters in that span, as he would also walk 1 as well. With this win, Miles Mikolas is 1-0 on the year. In the St. Louis Cardinals batting lineup, their left fielder, Tyler O'Neill, would end up going 3 for 5 with 2 runs. Their elite third baseman, Nolan Arenado, would go 2 for 3 with 3 RBIs and 2 runs, as Arenado hit his 4th home run of the season. Their center fielder, Harrison Bader, went 2 for 5 with 2 RBIs and a run. Their catcher for the day, Andrew Knizer, would go 3 for 5 with 2 RBIs. Their shortstop, Edmundo Sosa, would go 2 for 5 with a run as well. With this win, the St. Louis Cardinals are now 4-2. That is currently the best record in the National League Central. They are currently sitting half a game ahead of the second-place Chicago Cubs at the moment. With this loss, the defending National League Central champs, Milwaukee Brewers, are now 4-4. That is the 3rd best record in their division, as they are sitting 1 game behind the St. Louis Cardinals at the moment. Taking a look at what happened in Denver, the Colorado Rockies would host the Chicago Cubs. The Rockies would end up beating the Cubs 6-5 after scoring 5 runs in the 4th to take the lead, as the Cubs held the first lead of the game. On the losing end of this matchup, the Cubs were led out by their starting pitcher out of Duke, Marcus Stroman. Stroman would allow 5 earned runs off of 6 hits in 4 innings pitched. He would strike out 4 batters and walk 1, and with his loss, Marcus Stroman is 0-1. In the Cubs batting lineup, their catcher, Wilson Contreras, would end up going 3 for 5 with an RBI and a run for the day. Their third baseman, Jonathan Villar, would end up going 2 for 3 with an RBI and 2 runs. Their first baseman, their sub, Patrick Wisdom, would go 2 for 2 with an RBI. On the winning end of this matchup, the hometown Colorado Rockies were led out by their starting pitcher, German Marquez. Marquez allowed 4 earned runs off of 10 hits in 4.1 innings. He would strike out 3 batters and walk 1 before getting pulled in the 5th inning. The win would go to the Rockies' first relief pitcher, Ty Blatch. He allowed no earned runs in 1.2 innings, as he would finish the 5th and pitch the entire 6th, and he would also strike out a batter. With this win, he's now 1-0. The save would go to the Rockies' closer, Daniel Bard. Bard would allow only 1 earned run off of 2 hits in the 9th inning, as he struck out a batter. This would be his 3rd save of the year for the Rockies. In the Rockies batting lineup, their elite left fielder, Chris Bryant, went 2 for 4 with a run. Their third baseman, Ryan McMahon, went 2 for 4 with a run. Their catcher, Elias Diaz, went 2 for 4 as well. With this win, the Colorado Rockies are 5-2. They are tied with the Los Angeles Dodgers and the San Francisco Giants for the best record in the National League West. Only the New York Mets have a better record than the Rockies in the National League, as they are all sitting 1 game ahead of the 4th place San Diego Padres at the moment. With this loss, the Chicago Cubs are now 4-3. That is the 2nd best record in the National League Central, as they sit half a game behind the division-leading St. Louis Cardinals. Taking a look at what happened in San Diego, the Padres would host the defending champs Atlanta Braves. The Braves would beat the Padres 5-2. The Padres would tie the game up at 2 in the bottom of the 5th, thanks to a double from Manny Machado. But then the Braves would score 3 runs in the 8th. They scored 2 runs off of a double from Adam Duvall, and a wild pitch would put them up by 3. On the losing end of this matchup, the hometown San Diego Padres were led out by their starting pitcher, Mackenzie Gore. Gore would allow 2 earned runs off of 3 hits in 5.1 innings pitched. He would strike out 3 batters and walk 2. The loss would go to the Padres setup relief pitcher, Pierce Johnson. He allowed 3 earned runs in .2 innings pitched, as he would start the 8th and get pulled within that inning. The only outs he would register were 2 strikeouts, and with this loss, he's now 0-1. In the Padres batting lineup, their elite third baseman Manny Machado went 3 for 4 with an RBI. And on the winning end of this matchup, the defending champs Atlanta Braves were led out by their starting pitcher Kyle Wright. Kyle Wright would allow 2 earned runs off of 5 hits in the 5 innings that he pitched. He would strike out 9 on the day. The win for the Braves would go to their second relief pitcher, Darren O'Day. Darren O'Day would allow no earned runs in the 7th inning as he struck out 2. With this win, he's now 1-0. The save for the Braves went to their newest closer from the Dodgers, Kenley Jansen. He would allow no earned runs in the 9th inning as he struck out 2. He would pick up his very first save in his very first start, or in his very first appearance with the Atlanta Braves this season. This is his first save of the 2022 year. In the Braves batting lineup, their third baseman Austin Riley would go 2 for 5 with 2 runs. Their elite second baseman Ozzie Albies would go 1 for 5 with an RBI and a run as he hit his 3rd home run of the season. And their designated hitter Marcell Ozuna would go 2 for 4 with an RBI. With this win, the Atlanta Braves are 4-5. They are tied with the Washington Nationals for the second best record in the National League East. They are sitting 2.5 games behind the division-leading New York Mets. With this loss, the San Diego Padres are 5-4. They are holding the 4th best record in the National League West as they sit 1 game behind the 3-way tie at the top of the division that contains the Colorado Rockies, the Los Angeles Dodgers, and the San Francisco Giants. So that's what they're looking like. Taking a look at what happened in Seattle, the Mariners would host the defending American League champs, Houston Astros. The Mariners beat the Astros 11-1. They would go on to score 10 runs from the 4th through the 8th inning, scoring in every single one of those innings. On the losing end of this matchup, the Houston Astros were led by their starting pitcher, Jake Odorizzi. Odorizzi would allow 4 earned runs off of 8 hits in 4.1 innings pitched. He would strike out only 1 batter and walk 3, and with this loss, Odorizzi is 0-1. In the Astros batting lineup, their first baseman, Yuli Gurriel, he would go on to go 2 for 4 with a run on the day. On the winning end of this matchup, the hometown Seattle Mariners would go on to be led in pitching by Marco Gonzalez. Gonzalez would allow 1 earned run off of 4 hits in 7 innings pitched as he struck out 6. With this win, he's now 1-1. In the Mariners batting lineup, their second baseman and former All-Star Adam Frazier went 4 for 5 with 4 RBIs and 2 runs. Their left fielder Jesse Winker went 2 for 3 with an RBI and a run. Their right fielder Mitch Haniger went 2 for 5. And then their elite third baseman Eugenio Suarez went 1 for 4 with 3 RBIs and 2 runs. He hit his 2nd home run of the season. With this win, the Seattle Mariners are now 4-4. They are tied with the Los Angeles Angels and the Oakland Athletics for the 2nd best record in their division, as the Mariners have won their last 2 games. They both sit half a game behind the Houston Astros. With this loss, they're now 4-3. So that's the top 4, and the top 4 teams in the AL West are all divided by half a game is the takeaway you should have from this. But in addition to that, jumping to the LA Dodgers game, last but not least, they would go on to host the Cincinnati Reds. The Dodgers would score the first 3 runs in the game, not giving the Reds a chance to take a lead of their own. On the losing end of this matchup, the Cincinnati Reds were led out by their starting pitcher, Vladimir Gutierrez. He would allow 3 earned runs off of 5 hits and 4 innings pitched as he would strike out 3 and walk 3. With this loss, he's 0-2. In the Reds batting lineup, their shortstop Kyle Farmer went 2 for 4 with an RBI. On the winning end of this matchup, the Dodgers were led out by their starting pitcher Tony Gonsolin. He allowed no earned runs in the 4th in the 4 innings that he would pitch, as he would allow 3 hits as well. He struck out 2 batters and walked 3 in that 4-inning stretch. The win for the Dodgers was given to their first relief pitcher, Tyler Anderson. Anderson allowed 1 earned run off of 2 hits in another 4 innings pitch as he pitched the 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th innings. He would strike out 4. With this win, he's now 1-0 on the season. The save would go to the Dodgers' elite closer, Craig Kimbrell. He allowed no earned runs in the 9th inning. This would be his 2nd save of the year. In the Dodgers batting lineup, their elite shortstop and reigning batting champ Trey Turner would go 2 for 4 with an RBI. And then their second baseman Gavin Lux would go 2 for 3 with 2 runs. With this win, the Los Angeles Dodgers are now 5-2. They are tied with the Colorado Rockies and the San Francisco Giants for the best record in the National League West, as the Dodgers have now won their last 4 games. Their 4-game winning streak is the longest active winning streak in the National League as of right now, and their 4-game winning streak is the longest active winning streak in the MLB. just to give a sense of what the Dodgers are looking like. With this loss, the Cincinnati Reds are now 2-6. That is the worst record in the National League Central, as they are currently holding a 4-game losing streak. They are tied with the Philadelphia Phillies for the longest active losing streak in the National League. Only the Kansas City Royals have a longer active losing streak than the Reds. The Reds are sitting 3 full games behind the division-leading St. Louis Cardinals. That is what the MLB is looking like following yesterday's matchups. Taking a look at what's going on today, and of course today is Saturday, so there will be one primetime matchup. At 4:05, the San Diego Padres, led out by Nick Martinez, are going to host Ian Anderson in the Atlanta Braves. Padres enter this matchup at 5-4, holding the 4th best record in the National League West. And the Braves enter this matchup with a 4-5 record, tied with the Nationals for the 2nd best record in the National League East. Looking outside of that game, at 1:10 in Citi Field, Carlos Carrasco and the New York Mets are going to host Zach Gallen in the Arizona Diamondbacks, as Zach Gallen looks to make his very first start. At 2:10, Michael Kopech and the Chicago White Sox are going to host Corey Kluber and the Tampa Bay Rays in Chicago. In 3:07, the Toronto Blue Jays, led by their elite starting pitcher Hyunjin Ryu, are going to host the Oakland Athletics, led by Paul Blackburn. Hyunjin Ryu looks to get his first win, or he still has yet to register a win or a loss this season, and his ERA is sitting at 16.2. Taking a look at what's going on at 4:10 in Kansas City, Chris Bubich and the Kansas City Royals are going to host Matt Manning and the Detroit Tigers. At the same time, at 4:10, Tanner Houck and the Boston Red Sox are going to host Sonny Gray and the Minnesota Twins. At 6:10, Trevor Rogers and the Miami Marlins are going to host Ranger Suarez and the Philadelphia Phillies. At the same time, at 6:10, Cal Quantrill and the Cleveland Guardians are going to host Anthony DeSclafani and the San Francisco Giants. At 6:35, Bryce Wilson and the Pittsburgh Pirates are going to host Josh Rogers and the Washington Nationals. At 7:05, Taylor Hearn and the Texas Rangers are going to host Noah Syndergaard and the Los Angeles Angels. At the same time, at 7:05, Tyler Wells and the Baltimore Orioles are going to host Jamison Tyone and the New York Yankees. At 7:10, Adrian Hauser and the Milwaukee Brewers are going to host Steven Matz and the St. Louis Cardinals. At 8:10, Antonio Senzatella and the Colorado Rockies are going to host Matt Leiter Jr. and the Chicago Cubs in Coors Field in Denver, Colorado. At 9:10, Chris Flexen and the Seattle Mariners are going to host the Houston Astros, led out by their goated starting pitcher Justin Verlander. Verlander enters this matchup in T-Mobile Park with an 0-1 record, as he holds a 1.80 ERA. At 10:10, last but not least, Julio Urias and the Los Angeles Dodgers, the hottest team in baseball, are going to host Hunter Green and the Cincinnati Reds, as I know for a fact that Hunter Green is from Los Angeles. But that is currently what the MLB is looking like following yesterday's matchups. Taking a look at what is going on with soccer from yesterday, the really big matchups that took place yesterday, I guess took place in France and Italy. AS Monaco was able to beat Stade Rennais 3-2 after scoring 2 goals in the second half. With this win, AS Monaco is currently sitting with the 4th best record in Ligue 1. They sit 3 points behind 3rd place Stade Rennes, as that was a very big game for them. They are sitting 6 points out of a Champions League spot. Taking a look at what happened with the two top teams in Italy, Inter and AC Milan were able to pick up their wins. Looking at the very top of Serie A, AC Milan was able to beat Genoa 2-0, as their 2 goals would come from Rafa Leao and then Junior Macias in the second half. With this win, they now sit 2 points clear of second place Inter, but Inter has played 1 less game. Inter was able to beat Spezia 3-1 yesterday. Their goals would come from Marcelo Brozovic in the first half. They were going to go from their elite Argentinian forward Lautaro Martinez, and then their Chilean forward Alexis Sanchez would give them their 93rd minute goal after Spezia scored their lone goal. With this win, Inter sits 2 points behind AC Milan with 1 less game played in the season. They sit 3 points ahead of 3rd place Napoli, as it's still pretty close for them, but it was a very big and a very important win that they needed to pull off. And then taking a look really quickly at what is going on today, because of course today is Saturday, jumping from country to country. But of course, before I get into the leagues, I think it's fair to get into the one tournament game that's going on today. Manchester City is going to be facing off against Liverpool in the English FA Cup today. Even looking at where they're sitting in the Premier League, they're the top two teams right now, and they most recently drew in that matchup. This time they're playing for a chance in the FA Cup final, and because they're playing for a chance in the final, they can't go to a draw if they don't win this matchup. So that's going to be a matchup that a lot of people are looking forward to. Taking a look at what is going on in the Premier League at 7:30, Tottenham is going to host Brighton and Hove Albion. Tottenham enters this matchup holding the fourth best record in the Prem. They sit 5 points behind third place Chelsea with one more game played than Chelsea. They also sit 3 points ahead of Arsenal with one game played more than Arsenal. But a win would actually do a lot for Tottenham if they definitely want to play in Champions League next season. At 10 a.m., Manchester United is going to host Norwich City. Manchester United enters this matchup with the seventh best standing in England. They sit even with West Ham, but they've played one less game than West Ham. This is an opportunity for them to possibly overtake West Ham for a Europa League spot. They sit 3 points behind fifth place Arsenal as well. Speaking of Arsenal, they're going to be facing off against Southampton at 10. Arsenal holds the fifth best record in the Prem as they say 3 points behind Tottenham. Their opponents, Southampton, are currently holding the 14th best record in England. That's what's going on right there in that country. Taking a look at what is going on in France, the reigning Ligue 1 champs Lille are going to host Lyon. Lille enters this matchup with the seventh best record in France, as they face off against Lyon, the team that holds the eighth best record in France. A win could do a lot for Lille as they sit 3 points behind sixth place Nice, as they're still competing for a possible Continental Cup appearance. But this is coming off of their Ligue 1 championship last year. Taking a look at what is going on now within Italy at the moment, it looks as though Juventus is going to host Bologna at 12:30. Coming into this matchup, Juve is holding the fourth best record in Italy. They sit 4 points behind third place Napoli at the moment, and they sit 5 points ahead of fifth place Roma. Their opponent Bologna enters this matchup with the 12th best record in Serie A. So this is a very good chance for Juventus to, of course, gain that ground. But that's the big matchup today in Italy. And then jumping to Germany, the big matchup that's taking place there, we'll see Borussia Dortmund, the second best team in the league, face off against Wolfsburg. Wolfsburg's holding the 13th best record. Dortmund is sitting 9 points behind first place Bayern as this season is slowly but surely wrapping up. Dortmund needs to win this if they want a chance at winning the title. But that is virtually everything that I have for you today. As today is Saturday, April 16th, 2022. We are in playoff season as even the NHL playoffs are going to be starting really soon, but we're going to be getting into that once we get there, and I will follow this up with a preview for the first round of the NBA playoffs, and I do have an individual profile today. So with that said, I want to thank everyone for listening to everything. I hope all is well, and I will catch you with another episode of The Elite tomorrow once all of today's exhibitions and matchups are done. Until then, thanks for listening to my piece. I hope all is well, and I'll catch you with more tomorrow. Peace out.